All right. Pull this over. All right, if you're just jumping in, let me know if you can hear me. And I just posted over on Facebook too, so hopefully we'll get some people jumping over. All right. All right, we got a few people joining in. So with this one, we're pretty much just going to be doing a Q&A. So if anybody's got anything, we'll just start talking about it. I was trying to see if I could actually get somebody to join in, but I haven't done enough YouTube live to know if you can actually bring somebody else in. All right. Make sure I got everything turned on. All right. Can anybody hear me? I see Mike going up on this one, but I don't know if I can hear it on your end yet. Okay, perfect. Had to pull it up on my phone too, just to make sure. All right, perfect. Thank you. How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. Miranda, Wendy, Leanne, Shay, Ashley, Donna. All right. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, we'll just start jumping into it. I don't know. We did this one as a test one the other night. There's about 200 people that showed up, so I'm hoping we get a few more tonight. And I posted in a couple different places, so yeah, hopefully some people see it. When we have classes in New York or New Jersey, I would actually love to do that, but the in-person stuff, I don't know. It's still really hard to do those just because ever since the lockdown and everything like that, getting back out and actually getting people to show up for stuff like that is still down from what I've seen. And I've actually only flown through New York, so I would actually love to go there and stay for a few days. The M12, yes, we're trying to get the M12. It's actually coming back to a few different suppliers, so it will be back, and it's going to be kind of more widespread also. I know, I can't wait for the M12 to come back in. I love that wax. It's really nice. Uh, Miranda says, I was going to ask the jelly jar diameter, what is it? 2.5 or the new straight sided jelly jar you use? Let me see if I have one right here. I can measure it. The jelly jar, I think, is more like 2.6 or something like that. Actually, it might be 2.5. This is the straight sided 9 ounce, and this thing is 2.5 almost exactly. And I think the jelly jar, I don't have one sitting next to me, but I think the jelly jar is like almost identical to that one. Try to get this stuff going. I had to turn off this light. It was making the camera go bright and dark, kind of in and out last time. Oh, this Logitech camera works great. It looks good, but it goes in and out of focus if you're not looking at it. Yeah, we did a bunch of the in-person classes right before COVID hit and the lockdown happened, and it was actually a hell of a lot of fun. Actually got to a few places that I'd never been before, so I'm hoping to get those back up and going soon. I don't know, honestly, with the economy down right now, down season, in the last couple years, it's starting to come back up, but everything is still so down, it's hard to schedule anything like that. Even doing the online stuff lately, it's hard to get people. I mean, a lot of people want to join them, uh, but it's like when people can do it is it's still really tough to schedule those. Do you prefer CD Wicks or Eco and why? I actually like the CD Wicks over the Eco Wicks. The Eco Wicks, they've always worked kind of fine for me, but I've never been like really impressed with them. I think I tried them a few times in like soy and 6006, of course, because I use that wax so much. They worked all right, but it, I had a like the CD Wicks just performed better in more waxes than I ever found with the Ecos. Let me see. Do you like those new wicks you have on your website better than the premium? Or do you mean the premieres? It really depends on what you're going with. The LCS wicks work really well. I love them in the M12. The premieres again, they work really well in a lot of different waxes. So, yeah, the LCS. So it really depends on what you're going to. The LCS, I was trying to think. I used the LCS in the EC26. They worked really well in that one. The premieres, I think, are a little too hot for the. I mean, you can make them work, but the premieres burn a little hotter. And in something like the EC26, which is a real soft coconut soy, it was just a little too hot for that one. So I stuck with the LCS. But the premieres are very nice wicks. And especially if you're going to kind of a higher melt point wax or a harder wax, they do really well. Have you used those? All right, and then we've got, do you mess with coconut waxes at all? If so, do you have a preference? I got the cocoa apricot cream from Makesy a while ago, and I think I hate it. I've actually used that wax. I've had good luck with it. I was talking about this one on the live a couple days ago. That one, it took me a few more wicks than the coconut soy or the virgin coconut soy that they sell. I actually do prefer that coconut soy over their apricot cream. I got both of them to work, but the apricot cream took me a few more wicks to kind of get a really good hot throw from it. Whereas the coconut soy, I nailed that one within like the first or second wick, or not nailed it, but I got a good hot throw from both those wicks. And then jumping over to any of the other coconut soys that I've used, the ones from LCS and uh, the EC26 and the virgin coconut soy, I've had good luck with all those. Yeah, coconut soy is probably my number 2, 3. I like 6006 a lot, even with the, sinkhole issues. That one kind of falls out of favor for me, kind of the number 1 spot every once in a while because I have to deal with those so much. The M12 and then pretty much any coconut soy, those are probably my top 3. Cocoa apricot is all I'm using, but I found a couple fragrances smell bad with it for some reason. I haven't run across that, but again, I haven't done a ton of candles and a ton of different fragrances in that one. I might have to try that. What fragrances did you miss with, or what fragrances didn't work well with that one? Yeah, I'd be real curious to do some more testing on that one, I think. This live thing drives me crazy. The first question that pops up, I have a hard time reading it because the emoji icon is like right in the corner of it. So it covers up part of what you're saying. Let me see. 6006 has been my spring and summer fall fix. I'm in Florida and uh, dry, soy cries down here, dries down here. Yeah, soy, especially in the hotter climates. I've talked about this one before in some videos. Soy can start to melt when you're in those hotter climates, especially if you're doing any markets outside. It can definitely be kind of a pain in the ass. 6006, and you can actually add a little bit more. So if you're doing soy, you could probably add, say, maybe some 4625, just a little bit. You might raise the temperature a little bit, but yeah, like you, I like to jump back and forth to waxes sometimes, and that 6006 holds up pretty well. Midwest peppermint milkshake was a bad one. Fine and soy. I haven't actually done that one, and I love peppermint too. I might have to grab some of that and try it because I still have some of that apricot cream. Matt says, "How do you like the ProBlend 600?" I actually haven't used the ProBlend 600, but I think that's the one that's real similar to 6006. I've heard it's very nice. That's another one that I've been meaning to get some samples of it so I can actually try it out for some videos, and I just haven't done it yet. It's a 50/50 wax. See, I got to look that one up. It's been a while since I've looked at that one. I know a lot of people really like that one. And if it's got a 50/50 mix, that's quite a bit different than 6006. Similar to Joy Wax, supposed to be the same. I've worked with Joy Wax a little bit, made a couple videos on that one. It was nice. That's one I should probably go back through and do some follow-up videos too. It's been a while since I've used that one. I don't know if they've changed the formulation of that one any, but I liked it when it came out. And then I saw a while back some people were claiming they had some issues with it, but I didn't buy any at that time. So it'd be nice to go back through and actually test that one again to see how well it does. Yeah, 6006 takes the heat better for me. Yeah, for me too, definitely. That's kinda why I stuck with it too, especially going through spring and summertime. I'm not in a crazy hot area. I mean, it does get above 90 here in kind of the Tacoma, Seattle area a little bit, but we're not going months on end with 100-degree weather. But I do ship to areas that get extremely hot, especially anybody that's shipping. You get those candles in a UPS or a FedEx truck or something like that, and they're gonna get like 100 plus for days on end. Never have any catch fire. Yeah, I think that was the big problem with the Joy Wax. And again, I hate putting that out there because I don't know if it was the wax or if it was people doing the wrong thing. I definitely saw a lot of posts popping up with that wax potentially, or supposedly catching on fire, which again, I should have bought some at that time to really test it. The coconut beeswax 84 is amazing for both cold throw, hot throw. So much had to cut it down. See, that's awesome. By at least 2% with florals. Sensor very clean. See, yeah, I'd like to try some of that, especially if you get a wax that I've got certain oils that'll do that, like even some cinnamons. If I'm making like a patchouli or something like that, which I can't stand, but patchouli is a very strong scent. I definitely scale that one back. I normally do around 8%, and I'll scale that one back to probably 6% just because it's strong no matter what you do. But if you're doing that with florals, I mean, that's incredible. Florals usually come off pretty light with most waxes. Do you recommend opening an Etsy? I always say yes, just because it's a good platform. There's a ton of people on it. It's definitely gotten saturated, not just with candles, but with everything. So there's a lot to go in there. It can definitely get tough. To have your stuff seen on there because there's so much on there. I don't know how many candle makers are on there selling, but it's in the thousands, if not tens of thousands. Um, but again, it's a free platform to get on. I know you do have to pay if you sell stuff, but yeah, I always say yes just because it's quick and easy. Facebook Marketplace is another one where you can actually get in there, sell some stuff, and you're not stuck with like $50 a month website fees. Leanne, I've been making candles for about 20 years. I recently decided to try other waxes. Have the cocoa apricot, have been blending my own soy paraffin. Blending is always a great way to go. Yeah, do you blend your own? I definitely do. uh, Depending on which kind of candle line I go to, and I do it for videos, I do it for candles, I do it just for testing, just to see what goes. I blend a lot of wax melts actually. The I used to do just a straight 4625, but the fragrance load in that one is like 6%, and I wanted them a little bit stronger. So for my wax melts, I'll blend 6006 with about 10% of 4625. So you get that. It looks a little cleaner. You get that real nice kind of off white finish, the smooth finish with 6006, and then adding just a little bit of 4625, it snaps better because 6006, of course, by itself is way too soft for melts. But yeah, excuse me. Blending in general is a great way to go. And I've talked about this one in videos and on the group quite a bit. If you want to set yourself apart, that's a good way to go. Blending fragrances, blending waxes, so that you can kind of claim or have, not even claim, you have kind of a proprietary wax blend. If you blend your own, what percentages paraffin to soy do you like best? That one really comes down to which waxes you're going to be using. Like I said, 6006 is really soft. It doesn't take much of the 4625 to harden it up. And even if you wanted to use that in candles just to make it a little bit harder, like 10% goes a long way. I did some 50/50 blends with the 4625. And if anybody hasn't seen that one, it comes out almost like bricks. You have to hit it with a hammer to break it apart. So a 50/50 blend came out really tough. It was way too much. So I scaled it all the way back to 10% and it was perfect. If you're doing something like a soy and a 4627, and again, for somebody who hasn't used 4627, it's a real soft, 100% paraffin wax. It looks like, if you open up the bag, it looks like a really thick Vaseline. There's no other way to talk about it. It's extremely messy. It throws extremely well, but it is again, it's extremely messy. So kind of hardening that up with like a 50/50 mix of maybe 464 and 4627 is a pretty good blend. Have you used C55 for wax melts? I have not used C55. Toya says Etsy is saturated right now. It definitely is. Polluted with brands selling 16-ounce candles for $8. Yeah, see, I haven't been there for a while. That's crazy. And that's another thing you definitely have to deal with you've got a lot of people on there, uh, yeah, selling a lot of candles. They really don't. I wouldn't say they don't know what they're doing, but really undercutting. But you do get a lot of people on there that are just getting started. Uh, and again, you're kind of competing with let's just say you're competing with people who are throwing candles on there that don't know what they're doing too. So they might look pretty, but they might have wicks that are severely underwicked or overwicked. Yeah, there you go. I didn't even read the second part. I'm sorry. Then you see reviews of people complaining they catch fire. Yeah, exactly. Wherever they're made from, had better look at markets. Markets are a great way to go, especially if you can get into local markets, which I think is what you're talking about. Local markets are incredible. I always try to do a video and make a post about that one when markets go live right around like January, not go live, but that's when they announce them. And that's when you can usually sign up for markets is January, February, March. And those are it's real important to watch those too because most markets, for anybody new in here, most markets will only let one or two or maybe three, depending on how big the market is. They'll only let one, two, or three of any of the same type of vendors in there. So, and they usually favor makers and vendors who have been there previously. So, if you've got 20 different candle makers that sign up, they're going to bring in. Thank you, Wendy, very much. If you have vendors that have been there for 5 years, they're going to get the first spot no matter what because they've been there for 5 years. They know them, they trust them, and then you're going to deal with the other 19. So if you can get in there first and you're among the first like two, three, four, five people to sign up, you'll have a better chance of getting in. And sometimes you'll have to apply for a good 2, 3 years in a row before you can get in. As a supplier, do you ever plan to restock the 16-liter wax melter? We have some coming. It's been kind of a nightmare trying to get those back in. We had the first round come in, sent them out, and now we're waiting on the second round. So we do have pre-orders on those right now. I would tell you to hold off on the pre-order. I mean, unless you want to pre-order one, but we're hoping to get those real soon and send the rest of them out. I like that one quite a bit. We had the 32 liter and the 16 liter. I prefer the 16 liter just because of that stainless steel finish. It's unbelievably nice. Plus, it heats up quicker. I usually run two at the same time, so I've got one completely melting while I'm pouring from the other one, and then once that one's ready, I just switch to the other one and fill it. What do you think about cement vessels? I actually like cement vessels quite a bit. There's a maker out there. She's from Seattle. I'm drawing a blank. I actually bought some of her candles. Oh my gosh, my wife is going to kill me. It's one of her favorite makers too, and I forget her name. I want to shout her out. She makes her own cement vessels and sells them. They're extremely nice and she does a really good job with them too. She makes her own, adds in flakes and all that kind of stuff. Kundalini candles. Yeah, sorry, I should know that. Kundalini candles, and we'll see if I can pop her up right here. Yeah, she does really nice stuff. If you're not following her on Instagram, I would definitely say follow her. Yeah, really nice stuff. They look clean, and they're very solid vessels too. That's probably one of the biggest things I would say if you're going to get into cement vessels. Definitely look at the different types of material. Even reach out to some of the makers that make them and ask them kind of how they're doing it. Because if those come out brittle at all, if those come out brittle at all, I mean, you can have a candle that will be kind of half lit and split down the side, and wax will go everywhere. It doesn't happen a ton, but definitely watch out for something like that. Let me see. Have you ever experienced candle wick shedding? Found an old article saying to bake this coat off. Do you recommend, or should I find a new supplier? Yeah, baking the coat off. Are you talking about putting the wicks in like an oven and just like melting the wax coating off of the wicks? If that's the case, I definitely wouldn't do that. That wax is definitely there for a reason. So if you've got wax or wicks that are doing that, I would probably find something different. I've never heard of that one. So if they're going through and they're like splitting and doing stuff like that, it could be a bad batch of wicks too. So I can't say it's the wick's fault. What do you do when the wax hardens in the spout of the melter? Uh, I just wait a little bit longer. I wait for the melter. Any melter I've ever had, from the Presto pots to the 60, I was looking for one in here. I don't have one. To the 16-liter stainless steel, even the big 32-liter uh, white ceramic one that I've got. I just let those sit until the wax is fully melted. And that spout is usually metal and it'll heat up over time and it usually melts itself right out. If it doesn't do that, then you can just grab a heat gun, put it on low, and just kind of run the heat gun over the spout for a few seconds, maybe 5, 10, 15 seconds. And that'll usually melt it out enough to where you can open the spout. Uh, Crystal says, I love Cocoa 83. However, the heat in Texas has been extremely difficult. Definitely. To do markets and shipping. Is there something you would recommend blending with? For the Cocoa 83, and if you like the Cocoa 83, and this is where blending gets kind of tough too. If you really want to stick with the look and the feel of that wax, you definitely don't want to add too much. I would try to find maybe a wax that has a little bit higher melting temperature. Again, the 4625, but it's going to harden it up really fast. You could probably, and I don't know, it probably wouldn't raise the temperature a ton, but again, I would try maybe 5%, 10% on a few and just kind of see how it goes for you. How's the shipping turnaround time? I'm glad you asked this question because it has changed a lot in the last week or two. How's the shipping turnaround time for West Sound Candle Supply orders since you've had to switch up from the Candle Boutique? It was absolutely horrible for like 3 months straight. I made a post about this, and I don't mean to laugh about it because it's not funny because it was very stressful. It was absolutely horrible for like the last 3 months. Just because we're going out of the warehouse. I was trying to get people to move the stuff into storage areas so that we could ship from those. So I even had stuff at home just as like a kind of a pivot point to get stuff from the boutique to here to the storage units. And we had some stuff that was taking way too long to get out, but within the last couple of weeks, we've got everything out of there. Everything is set up, staged in storage areas, waiting to go into the new location. So we're just shipping right out of that stuff. For the most part, it's me, and so that was one of the other reasons was me just getting in there trying to ship literally hundreds of orders by myself. But within the last couple weeks, I think everything is pretty much caught up right now. I might have one or two. I need to go through and check. There might be one or two that are out, but stuff that's been coming in the last 2 weeks has been going out within 2, 3, maybe 4 days tops. Yeah, Matt says Lone Star Candle has HTP wicks. The HT, I love the HTPs. I have for years. Even when they switched and started making like a new type, a new I can't even think of the. They had to They basically had to redo the HTP wicks, but even the new ones I still like quite a bit. And we do have HTPs. If you go to West Sound Candle Supply or DIY Candle Supply, we do have we do have some of the HTPs there, and we've got more coming in too. Uh, had wax delivered to Arizona. It was melted by the time it got to me, and having trouble getting the moisture out. I've done 30 minutes at 200 degrees, and it's still cloudy. Yeah, that's a tough one, especially being down in Arizona. Yeah, I would let that stuff if you can let it sit for a while. Wax, I mean, when it comes from the manufacturers, when they're pouring it into the bricks, the bags or anything like that, they've got that stuff sitting in melters. I would imagine for days at a time. So you definitely don't need to let it go for days at a time. But if you can let it sit there for a couple hours in a melter, I would just sit there and even maybe just put like half in a melter so it doesn't have to heat up the whole thing, and just let it sit there for an hour or two and see if you can get that moisture out. What are personally your favorite fall scents? I sound like a broken record, and it's the most basic one possible, but cinnamon is absolutely my number one. It's quick and easy. I love smelling it everywhere I go. Spice Market, which is one that we sell at Bohosoft. Um, Gosh, what else? The apple maple bourbon from Midwest Fragrance is one of my favorites. I think they have one of the best ones. Trying to think of some of the others. I do like a couple of the Wassel. That's the if anybody hasn't seen it, Wassal, Wassel. Um, Very Christmassy type scent. I don't even know what the makeup of it is anymore. I think it's like cranberries and like mulled cider type smell. That's a very good one. Trying to think of some of the other ones. Apple spice is always a really good one. Oh, this is a great question, Matt. And I missed your funny why. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. uh, so we'll go back to that one. Have you opened a TikTok shop? I started it, but I haven't hit submit on anything yet. Um, so Matt says, how would you recommend your significant other deals with your candle making obsession? Uh, I will say, years ago, my ex absolutely hated it. She was not a fan of the candle business. She thought it was stupid. Honestly, she didn't think a guy should be making and selling candles, even though I was good and successful at it. So you're going to run into issues where some people may not get into it at all. My wife now absolutely loves it. She's one of my biggest fans. She will help me no matter what. And I honestly didn't have to do anything with that one. I mean, she's there for me, so she's right along board with anything I'm doing for candles. But I was going to say, if you're, yeah, how would you recommend deal with it? Yeah, that's a tough one. And if you want a real answer, I mean, previously I had to, I just did all my candle stuff when nobody was there, which you shouldn't have to do. Um, but again, if you want to get them involved, and I would say this with my kids, want to get them involved, try to find something that they like about it. Uh, and again, I don't know. With kids, I just tried to make it a game to get my son into it. My daughter was part of it in the beginning, so that was easy. But my son, I would just have him come over and help. And if he liked a certain aspect of candle making, I would have him help me with that. Exactly. Toya says, "Come through, soulmate." Definitely. uh, and then best sellers for fall. Best sellers for fall. Again, I'm going to go back to the same ones: the cinnamon, apple spice, the pumpkin spice. There's some real basic ones out there. Mixie has a I can't remember the name of it, but it's like it's a chai maple chai is incredible. That one's really good. Um, yeah, even going to some of the like the real basic fall and winter scents all do extremely well. I will say I've gotten into some like blueberry cobblers and strudels. Those do okay. Uh, the Hansel and Gretel from Candle Science is a really nice one. I love it, but it doesn't really sell that well for me, which I think is crazy because it's an amazing smell too. Trying to see if I missed any going back through here. Then going back to Sky's asking about the TikTok shop. I need to go through and do that one. I've got a bunch of candles, and the reason I haven't pulled the trigger completely on that one is because I've been a lot of the candles that I've been making, I've got them set aside for work, and I didn't really want to put them on the TikTok shop yet. And I also wanted to make sure I had a bunch on there just in case something happened. And I didn't want to put like 20 on there. I wanted to make sure I had like 100 on there. That way, if something did happen and it started to sell, I actually had a bunch that I could ship out. And I actually have just started to do a lot more with TikTok. I've been trying to get back on there and actually do a few more videos. I've just been so lazy with doing TikTok for the past year or so. Have you planned on doing any markets this season? We have them year round at sea. I wish we don't have them year round, or I guess we do have them year round, but it gets pretty cold. So there's several months here where it's just not worth it. We do have one market that goes year round up in Seattle, which is a pretty big market. I've done that one once a couple years ago. This year, I didn't even I wanted to do markets and I was hoping to get into it, but there was so much going on. I knew that we were going to be doing the move from the warehouse to a new location. So I didn't even bother to sign up for anything this year, which kind of sucks because that's going to put me further down on the list if I want to do any for next year. But I would like to get back to doing markets. I actually like those quite a bit. They're a lot of fun. Never too late to get ahead. That's right. Exactly. So I think as soon as they come around, and hopefully I'm in the new spot next year so I can actually start planning. Um, Trying to get to a new area and I want to see what the markets are like in that area and definitely get that on there. Is there a TikTok or is there a TikTok shop? Greetings from Norway. Hello for well, hello Norway. Yeah, TikTok. If you're, I think you have to be a business account to get on there, but yeah, you can definitely jump on there and start selling your products on TikTok. Yeah, Sky says I've had the hardest time trying to get in my local market 2 years and still nothing. Yeah, some of them can definitely be tough. I've gotten lucky at a few of the ones from a couple years ago. And again, the shutdown happened. So I'm like 2 years, 3 years behind on getting back into some of those. Uh, but yeah, some markets, especially the really good ones that people really know about, it can be tough to get into some of those. Uh, the girl that used to work for me at the shop, Megan, I think it's the Blackberry Festival that they have around here, is another one that does extremely well, and she got into it last year and did incredibly well with it. And that's a tough one to get into. I don't know how long she tried to get into it, but I think it was a little while before they actually let her in as a candle vendor. Okay, so TikTok Shop has been amazing for me so far. It takes about 15 days after products are delivered to get paid. That definitely sucks. Yeah, that's a long time. I mean, I get pissed off with Shopify taking like 2 days. But yeah, that's see, I need to hurry up and get on there and post some stuff so I can actually see what it's like. Uh, how can you professionally ask how can you professionally ask to host a recurring candle workshop in a venue? Any advice? Yeah, I would say just walk in. If you're, I've done that at a few different places. If you're looking at a shop or a boutique that you want to host a candle class in, they're like up, established, and they're going. I would just walk in and ask them if they've ever done candle classes, and then let them know that you do them, what it is, how long it takes, everything like that, and then come up with kind of a revenue split. And that's always worked extremely well. Another one to look out for, and I don't know if they really do them anymore. It's been a while, but is the gosh, and I'm drawing a blank on the name. It's the craft places. Oh my gosh. It's there's one over in Gig Harbor. I've done videos on it. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the name now. But the craft places where it's all they do is like the knitted blankets. They do different crafts. I went to them before they started doing candle classes and asked them if they wanted to do those. And I think it was gosh, I think we did like a 60-40 split. I got 60 and they got 40. No, it's not Michael's. It's one of the smaller shops. Um, Yeah, the owner of the shop reached out to me. She buys supplies now, and she does her own candle classes in those shops. Um, I'll look it up before it drives me crazy. That's the AR workshop. I don't know why that was escaping me. The AR workshops are great. You might reach out to some of those guys. I think they have it in house now. That may have changed. But yeah, some people, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joanne's, it sounds like they do some of those also. If they do any kind of event like that, I would just walk in and talk to them. And if you've got any local boutique candle shop, even wine bars, I mean, anything like local breweries are another great one. Anything that's going to help bring people in. I did some at a couple local wine shops and a couple breweries, and I sold it to them as, I'll give you X amount, like 25% of whatever I bring in, and I pay for everybody's first drink. So they're getting something right off the top. And I think I was charging like 50, I think maybe 50, $55 a ticket. And I think they got like $10 per ticket. And I also paid for the first drink, which is like another $5 or something like that. And everybody usually has more than one drink. So not only are they making money from the class, but they're making money from people buying either beer or wine. And you don't have to set up liquor license, which is great. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. Yeah, the paint and sips, the wine and sips, those are always really good. And especially if you can do it at a place where there's something for them to do while the candle, especially if you can do it at a place where, uh, I mean, because it takes like an hour. I was using soy on some of these, so it takes like an hour for it to cool down. So having a place where they can sit down, get a couple drinks, maybe get some appetizers, food or whatnot, uh, that makes that hour go by a lot quicker rather than just staring at candles and trying to figure out something for people to do. Drinking and making candles, absolutely. Have you ever used the SP487 wax or the Titan? If so, what do you think? I haven't used either one of those actually, and I know Sean from Peach State Candle sells a lot of the Titan. So, and I've talked to him about that stuff. I need to grab some of that for videos and testing. So I will definitely be doing that here in the next month or so. I've heard it's really good, but again, I just haven't picked it up yet. There's a few new waxes out too. I know Dulceria Creations has a few new ones out that I need to get and do some testing with. Definitely curious about their the Sierra de Coco. I think that's the one, and the olive oil one. I'm actually real curious to see how that does. I've heard good things about it, or both of them. I think they have three of them out now, and I've heard good things on all of them. Definitely heard good things on the olive oil one. Where do you find Titan wax? Check out Peach State Candle Supply. I think I don't know if they have that one, but they sell Titan waxes. And the other one, the SP487, I'll have to look that one up. I don't even know if I've heard of that one. And the Paranatural, I imagine that's like a 6006 parasoy blend. How long did it take you to settle on a jar? It took me a while, actually. Well, I wouldn't say that. In the very beginning, I went out and bought my first jar, which was like an 8-ounce jelly jar, but it was the flatter version. It was the flat and wide. I bought that one starting out, made a bunch of candles, and then literally within 2, 3 weeks of just starting out, uh, making candles with that one, I went out and started buying like 15 different jars and vessels just to because they all looked cool. I think I went to Hobby Lobby, or not Hobby Lobby. I went to Home Goods and found a bunch of different vessels. So I started, and this is, I learned my lesson quick with this one. And this is why I tell people to pick one vessel in the beginning and stick with one vessel until you nail that candle before you move on to more. Is I went to Home Goods, bought like 15 different ones because they all look cool, and made about 15 candles that just did not work because the waxes or the wicks, I think, only worked in like one of them, and of course didn't work in all the rest of them. Uh, and then after that, I think I quickly settled on the jelly jar, and I used that one for the first several years. But yeah, if you're just getting started, I would say find a vessel that you like, and stick with that one. Grab it, nail it, because you're going to do a lot of testing. And testing between a bunch of different vessels can get, I mean, testing in general is already frustrating. So when you can nail that, when you can like narrow that down and just pick one wax, a couple different oils, one style of wick, or I'm sorry, one style of vessel, then you can go out and get like six different types of wicks and see which one works well in that vessel. Here we the another random question. Friend wants to buy candles from me, but is curious about his two mastiffs eating them, and are FOs safe? I don't know that FOs are safe. I mean, some of them are definitely very corrosive, so it's probably not a good idea if they did eat them. Once they get into wax, I don't know if it alters the chemical makeup or anything like that, but I know if you take any oil and you get it around certain plastics, it'll just eat right through it. So I can't imagine like stomach lining is going to be very good with certain vessels. Uh, yeah, for something like that, yeah, that's a tough one. They would definitely. I mean, if they're dog owners, hopefully they know to keep that stuff away from them. Uh, and if they're in vessels with lids on, it's going to be a little tough to get through those. But yeah, that's definitely something to be curious about. And those are big dogs too. Yeah, Toya Michelle says, and don't fall in love with your jar. Ran into that issue this month. Had to switch to a 10-ounce straight side Libby's and had to wick down from wavy wood wicks to HTP 73s. Waited too late to stock up. Definitely. And again, that's I've mentioned this in a few other classes that I've done. Always have like some backup stuff that you know works well. Backup waxes, backup wicks, backup vessels. You don't have to like keep stock or anything like that. But just like Michelle said, or Toya said, if you run into a certain jar that you use all the time and you only use that jar, there can be certain times of the year, especially coming around November, December, when those jars might be just out of stock everywhere. And you still have people coming to you for candles. So I've seen a lot of people do this. They'll jump to another jar thinking that it's going to be the same because it's kind of the same makeup, size, like height, width, everything like that. And some vessels just do not work the same. So having a vessel that you can quickly switch in and out of, that you know, like you know the wax, you know the wick, and you know the oil ratio that's going to work in that one, will definitely benefit you. The nurse says no. I think she's talking to Matt says, "Well, yeah, don't let your dog eat your candle." And then the nurse says no. So yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be good. And certain oils, like I said, are very rough. uh Stanley, thanks for staying in the game. Been waiting for years. OG in my book. Thank you very much. Yeah, still having a great time with this stuff, and I've got tons planned. And honestly, I'm hoping to leave my job and do the candle thing full time very soon. And as soon as I can do that, I'm excited for it because everything's just going to ramp up more from there. I'll have more time to do videos, more time to do lives, more time to kind of do some of the experimental candles that I've been kind of messing with. Yeah, Mitt watching. I thought you were playing on that last video, and then when it happened, I was like, sugary honey iced tea. Let me see. Least favorite. See, I always love this one. This is a great question. Favorite fragrance, but it's a bestseller. Love Spell. Oh my god, I cannot stand to make Love Spell. Um, especially if you're making like 20 or 30 of them because it just overpowers the house. I like Love Spell in like small doses, but my God, when you're making 20, 30 candles for a couple hours and it's nothing but Love Spell, that scent just drives me insane. But again, every time I make them, they sell out. It's an easy one. Patchouli is another one. Patchouli is in small doses, and I've mentioned this in other videos, like very hints of like patchouli, uh, and I can't. What's the other one um, that's right on the tip of my tongue? Just drawing a blank. Nag Champa, patchouli, stuff like that. I absolutely hate those scents, but again, they sell incredibly well, and especially in my area, the Pacific Northwest, which is a very crunchy granola area. We got a lot of a lot of hippies that absolutely love that scent. So I always stock those. Again, I hate making them, but they sell out every time. I've been avoiding that fragrance for my self love candles at all costs. Yeah, some of them, some people just won't do them, and I don't blame you at all because they are tough to make. The patchouli got so bad that I actually made those in my garage because I just didn't want it in the house. Let me see. How do you feel about the new dessert candle craze? Everything looking edible. Um, it's kind of a I don't know. It's kind of well, I wouldn't say a love hate because I don't hate them. Uh, I think they look incredible. And AJ, the candle chef, and there's a few other people in the group that do unbelievable work with this stuff. The only thing that comes to my mind is I just worry about how well they're going to sell. But these guys have been doing it for years, so apparently they sell extremely well. I mean, I would never make them. I've got no desire to do it. Uh, but yeah, some of the stuff that AJ puts out is incredible. I mean, some of that stuff looks so realistic. And then I see some stuff where uh, some of the stuff I just don't get. I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't know why I would want a stack of fries with cheese sauce and chili on my table that's all wax. I don't know where that fits in. I, but again, people are buying that stuff, so I can't say anything negative against it. Least favorite out of the bottle, but love the hot throw. Gosh, I'm trying to think of one that doesn't really smell that great in the bottle, and I know I've got a ton. um, Gosh, what is it? Honestly, I would say maybe Dragon's Blood. Dragon's Blood is one that in the bottle it has that patchouli scent. It's a little bit different. I do like it. Uh, in the bottle, I always go, "God, am I gonna make these again today?" But once I get a candle and it's like a candle lit with dragon's blood, I actually like that one quite a bit when it's burning. So that might be one of them. And it's not the greatest answer. I'm trying to think of some others that are terrible out of the bottle, but they throw extremely well. Yeah, this was it. Miss Chow says they sell the dessert candles. They sell like crazy. Dessert candles is what brings the customers in a booth. Yeah, exactly. And there's certain areas where those do extremely well. And like I said, there's a few people in the group, and I wish I remembered some of the other names. But again, AJ's been doing this stuff for years, and he's making. I mean, I've seen tables. Gosh, and there was some lady and her husband were both making them, and there were like 40 and 50 on a table, and they were selling out in like a weekend. So yeah, they're doing something right. That's for sure. I said mine is lavender lemon, out of the box, nope, or out of the bottle, nope. Uh, when it's lit, I'm always asking, what is it? Yeah, exactly. Sky says I make them, but traditional candles sell better. Still do dessert candles because they bring in traffic. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the answer right there. And I mean, it's almost like I hate to equate it to this, but there's certain candles that I just really don't think are that great, but I make them because I know they sell, and it's the candles that have the stupid sayings on the side of them. There are some that are funny, but some of them that say "bitch please" and stuff like that. I just think they're kind of goofy. But I started making them because I had so many people asking me for them, and it's like, well, I'm not going to turn down a huge customer demand. So I think they're goofy, but they sell like crazy. So I'm going to make them. Yeah, Toya says, "I feel like the wicks would drown in them," and that's one of the biggest things I would say if anybody's gonna get into dessert candles, definitely have a formula or a method or know what you're doing. Definitely reach out to people like AJ again, who've been doing this a while. They have guides because some of those candles, I've seen some people make them, and once you light those, just because of the way the wax is setting up, you know that it's just gonna drown the wick out within the first hour of it lit. Making sure I haven't missed any questions here. I'm using the RCX wick or RCX, but it's prone to crack in winters and sweating in summertime. Anything I can do to fix that? Uh, I'm not even sure what the RCX is. I might be reading that wrong. Prone to cracking in winters, sweating in the summertime. Okay, so it's most likely a harder wax, obviously, if it's cracking. If it in the wintertime, that definitely makes sense. It's cracking in the winter. It's really cold. So the wax is cooling very fast and it cracks. Anything you can do um, with a wax like that, especially in the wintertime, if you can't get the room temperature up, I would rapeseed coconut. Okay, thank you. With a wax like that one, or any waxes for that matter that harden up really hard, like a beeswax, if you can stir that one in the metal pitcher all the way down to where it starts to get really cloudy, and that's when you pour, you can definitely eliminate some cracking then. For any type of sweating, again, if that candle is hardening really quick and it's tightening a lot, especially if it's cold, it's going to tighten even more because wax contracts and expands on hot and cold. So if you can slow that down a little bit, uh, yeah, you might have to add less, a little bit less fragrance to keep that oil still inside the wax and not have it like squeeze it out. You have a stash of oils that didn't make the cut. Why not sell fragrance bundles on your website? If we get to a point like that, I will definitely put some fragrance bundles on the website. Stuff that just isn't really selling that well, we'll start to move that stuff out as like big discounts or price cuts. Do you have an FO obsession? How do you pick your favorite fragrances and stick to less than 10 or so? I definitely have a fragrance obsession. Uh, I'm lucky enough to have some companies send me quite a few also. There are so many out there that I like. Um, I don't know. When it comes to doing the candles, I try to keep it. I mean, I'll go overboard sometimes and start throwing out some. The nice thing about markets is you can test a lot of those and get feedback, like instant feedback from people that are walking up to the booth. They'll come up and they'll smell like a blueberry cobbler. And if I've got 20 of them sitting on a market, I think I did that one time and I had like three sell. I was like, all right, well, it smells great, but I'm not going to make that one anymore because it's just not doing well. um, I usually try to stick to the ones that sell incredibly well, and then I might bring out two or three or four kind of here and there just to see how well they do, and then I might implement one of those into the actual kind of overall line. But yeah, that's a tough one, especially, and again, that's going to change area to area. That's why I hate to say. I usually tell people go look on the websites if you're looking for new oils, ones to keep in kind of a constant rotation. Go see what their best sellers are, but even the best sellers may not do well depending on the area that you're in. All right, I think that is pretty much it. I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're hitting right at the hour mark. I just want to say thank you guys for showing up to this one. Definitely going to be doing a lot more of these. So, yeah, throw in the comments what you'd like to see more of. I'm trying to get kind of a another co-host in there, or get people even in the comments. I'm going to try to get another streaming platform so that I can actually bring people in so they can ask questions live. So we'll definitely get that up and going. So again, thank you guys very much for showing up. And I think I'm going to try to do another one of these probably this weekend. We'll see how that one goes. I don't know how many people will show up on like a Friday night, Sunday night, but definitely be doing one this next week. And all right, we'll see you guys in the next one.